Hey everybody, Chef Adrian here again, and I'm so happy to be able to talk to you again today. And we're doing another kitchen rescue, but I want to acknowledge, of course, what everybody is going through at the moment, which is a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear, and there's all kinds of feelings that could come with what's going on right now. But I had a couple quotes I want to share really quick with you before we get started on really, really simple and easy meat and potatoes, any meat type of situation here. From the Lord of the Rings book, here's a quote from there. When Frodo has the ring, and they've gone through a lot of stuff, he says, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had ever happened." And Gandalf the wizard says, "So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." I try to take that into account every day when we have instant access to everything that's going on, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I also fall back on another great quote from one of my favorite human beings of all time, Mr. Rogers, who said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers.' You will always find people who are helping." And guys, that is what we need right now, is a lot of helpers, and I think that is exactly what is happening right now. So my main reason for wanting help tonight is to help people, again, try to use what they have on hand and to make really, really good and really easy, great food for their family. Because we're stuck inside right now, a lot of us are, and our company, like every company, is affected a lot by what's going on. I mean, we do events and fairs and festivals for a living. Our sales will go down 75 to 80%. But if we focus on that, that's all we'll see. But right now I'm focusing on great food, and I just don't worry about all the other stuff because everybody else is going through it too. But if we can focus on all the good stuff together, then we raise our entire frequency together. And so, all right, enough of that. So what we have here is in the freezer, I just had some elk steak. So we have some elk steak that was on hand. Now this could be chicken, it could be any kind of steak at all. Buffalo, antelope, beef. I live in Idaho here, and here hunting is almost a religion, and so we have elk steak, and we like it a lot. It's one of the really less gamey of the game meats. As you go to deer, the deer is in the middle. You go to something like antelope, which we do eat here, and that's more gamey. Our Always Incredible seasoning is super, super good for taking that gaminess out of it. So if that's an issue to you, but put it on your chicken, put it on your beef, anything that you want. Now you can do seafood too, using the same kind of recipe, because I'm going to show you how to do the meat, and then I'm going to show you how to make a gravy that's like just add water to the same pan you just cook the meat in. It's going to be that easy to it. So our Always Incredible is our most popular seasoning blend because it goes with everything. So I'm just going to put some on here. Now, you can do this before, during, or after you cook. If you cook it on a real high temperature, put it on a little bit later because you don't want to burn the seasonings. You can use others of our awesome seasonings here. We got the Always Inferno for the spicy, and the Strong Arm and Super Strong Arm. And ARM stands for all-purpose rub marinade, and so you have some different ones. We have 18 blends. So anyway, here's the Always Incredible. I've got this going right now, this pan. And we'll cook the elk on a medium heat. You can cook elk to this, and just like beef, cook it to medium rare if you like that. It's usually okay as long as it's been stored properly and taken care of along the way. But you can cook it to whatever you like. I love these little squeeze bottles here, by the way. So put a little bit of oil on there.
So how would it be different if you wanted to have it be a marinade ahead of time?
Yeah, so we have a recipe card called our universal recipe card. It comes with our orders, or it's online, and you can get that on there real quick. It'll show you can use any of our seasonings to make a marinade, and then you would soak it for, say, a few hours beforehand, and it depends on the meat. Some of the tougher meats, or you can put it on chicken and soak it for several hours. But if you're doing like seafood, then you would marinate it for just a little bit of time, because seafood really absorbs flavor a lot, so you would marinate seafood for like 30 minutes or so. But then you can use any flavors. And you see how easy that was there. We've got that going. I've got these potatoes here, and of course we live in Idaho, and potatoes are super, super inexpensive here. We have this microwavable bag. You can put that in, but you know what? If you have a couple of clean kitchen towels, you can wrap them up in that, and you can put it in there and microwave. That's going to take about 5 minutes. and it might take a little bit more time. And if it does, you just hit it for a little bit longer. But now that we got that going, I'll put a little bit more on top here. And so after these cook, because this is it's a red meat, so steak and elk and venison, dark meats like that, really do well if you can let them sit for a few minutes after they're done cooking. So when those are done, I'm going to be putting those on a clean plate here, because that one's now has the raw meat on it. And I'm going to use that same pan, and I'm going to pour some water and a little bit of cornstarch in there. And we're going to have an instant gravy now that we put on our meat and our potatoes. So even if you overcook it too much, it's okay, because gravy fixes everything. So if it's not too moist, gravy's great. But if it's cooked just right, gravy just enhances it. So you can't do really any wrong. And you really won't need to add much more seasoning, because it's already going to have that olive incredible and the flavors of the meat mixed throughout. Let's grab a plate real quick here.
So does it matter if you flip those repeatedly? Is it best to let it sit?
That is a really good question, actually, because a lot of people don't know that meats, when you're cooking them, as long as you don't have the temperature too high, now if they're sticking, like if you just get a look, that's sticking quite a bit there. I really can't flip that really well. You might be tempted then to get a spatula and start to try to get it off there, but resist that temptation, because it's going to pull off there when it's ready. So let it go, don't rush it, and then when it's ready, it'll lift on up of there on its own, and that's when it's ready to turn. If you turn it too soon, now if you want a rare steak or medium rare, the same rule applies. You just cook on a bit lower temperature, all right? Or you can cook it on a higher temperature if you want to sear it on the outside, but don't burn it.
But would that still be the same thing if it was a non-stick pan?
A non-stick pan is not going to stick to like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all. But I also wouldn't be using metal on a non-stick pan either, because that would scratch it. Okay, so we've got those going. And so what I'm going to do is get the cornstarch ready. There's our cornstarch. And I have 1 cup of water ready to go right here in this bowl. So when these come out, then I'm going to turn the fan on, because our smoke alarm is a little bit sensitive.
Oh yeah.
We don't want that to go off in the middle, because then we'll have an issue. And I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, the water for cornstarch?
Oh yeah, as soon as this comes out, I'm going to put it on the plate and cover it up, so then it can sit for a couple of minutes, which really helps it absorb the moisture, keep the moisture in, and then it gets a lot more tender. So if you eat it right away, rather than letting it sit for a few minutes, it's going to be tougher. So, and it's noticeably different. I mean, it's really
So if it takes a while to round up the kids at the table, it's okay. If dinner sits for a few minutes.
Or if you want to take a minute to make gravy, which is what we're going to do tonight. Turn that down just a little bit here. I'm going to get a little bowl here. Just a second. You can
if there's any questions out there, guys, throw them at Adrian. He likes to answer questions. Smelling really good already, guys. If you didn't know, this is our dinner tonight. And we didn't catch this elk. It was gifted to us, but it's actually really, really good. I've had it before, and it's like you said, it's not too gamey. It's very rich though.
All right. So you can see now I can lift that right up, and it comes right off rather than having to try to force it off. I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of the cornstarch.
Okay.
And in case some of you don't know, I actually tried out for a Food Network TV show called the Next Food Network Star, where I take myself as the food doctor who can take like anything that's broken in the kitchen and fix it, like you need to substitute something or anyway. So that's kind of what I specialize in doing. So I really like talking about those things. I love answering questions for people who don't really know or who have common issues in the kitchen, all that kind of stuff. So love doing that. And
even if you post a question after this is no longer live, we'll answer that at some point. So is that cold water?
It's cold water with, this is, I put 2 tablespoons of cornstarch in there, but I think it's only going to take 1. So I'm going to pour about half of that in there.
Okay.
So as soon as that's done to what we like it, which is say around medium, Then I'm going to pour that water in. We'll just give it a stir. We'll add a little cornstarch until it's thick enough to how we like it. If we get it too thick, we add a little bit more water, a little bit more Incredible. And it's great. So I'm just going to reach in and feel those potatoes just a little bit, and they're mostly soft, but they need maybe another 30 seconds or so. Let's give it a second. That's almost ready to come off, and I'm just going to grab something else. I don't remember what it was. Oh, the gravy dish. The gravy dish.
Get another action shot over here. This is the cornstarch and water for the gravy.
Yeah, this is not like a thing we plan a long time for and get everything out. We're just making dinner tonight, and we're showing you how easy it can be to do something real simple. And then that potato's ready. Now I'd say that's probably just about right for us, which is in the medium to medium rare.
Do you ever cut into it to check the doneness, or does that mess it up?
Oh no, you can do that, but I don't want to burn that too much, so I just want to add this water real quick. And the sound of that sizzle is actually, I love that sound. And that's great. And this is another reason I don't use the non-stick pan, is because to make the gravy we use a wire whip. And I'm actually scraping the stuff off the bottom where the meat was. And you can see the color of that. That's like, well, it's gravy color, right? And it's been flavored with the Always Incredible, and if we want to add a little bit more, we can. I'm going to let that come up to heat, and in the meantime, I'm going to cover this meat with some aluminum foil.
Okay. So if you had a non-stick pan, could you use a nylon whisk to do the same thing, or would it still mess up the pan?
A nylon whisk is just fine, yeah. The other option is you can use something like a wooden spoon, and just as this is already well mixed, make sure this part is mixed with the wire whip. And then as you pour it in, you can still use this. That's what I'll do just to show you. I'm going to make sure, because it will settle. Once you have it, it'll settle. Just make sure it's nice and stirred as you're entering that. And I'll put like half of it in there. And it won't be lumpy because it's already been taken care of there. And so I don't necessarily need the wire whip there. You can see it's getting a little bit thicker.
How hot is the...
It's on medium heat.
Medium?
Yeah, medium heat. And you can say, oh, is that great? Or is that... and you can see it's kind of, you got to let it cook for about 30 seconds before you really can tell how thick it's going to get.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to start adding too much before it gets, and you know what, that's actually looking close to about right. But I'm just going to give it a little touch more. Just a little touch.
So you pour this on the meat and the potatoes, or?
Yeah, you can do meat and potatoes here. And if you have bread on the side, you could dip your bread in that too. And I'm going to taste that a little bit because, you know, I
smells
flavor
good.
the meat with the Always Incredible there. Oh yeah, I can totally taste the meat flavor in there, and it does need a little more of the Always Incredible. So we'll put a little bit more in there. In this case, I will use the way, and guys, no other flavors here were added. You don't have to mess with even salt, pepper, or any special herbs or spices. It's all just right there. And
it's nice because you get those gravy packets, and you know, I don't know what's all in there. It could have a little MSG or, you know, something not natural.
And there you go. It's ready to go.
Oh, it looks so good.
Okay, so now I'll take it and put it in the gravy thing. See if I can pour it with you, being able to see it there. Just like that.
As that cools, will it get thicker as well?
It'll probably stay about this consistency until after it's put in the refrigerator and then taken back out again.
Okay.
So while it's warm, it'll stay this thickness. Probably
Uh-huh.
won't get too much more thick. But once it's in the fridge, it's going to gel, and it's going to be pretty solid, you know, like gelatin type of thing. But then
Yeah.
you take it out, you can heat it up again, you can add a little more water at the time, and be ready to go. Okay. And so I guess I need a little plate to put it on for a demo. And
So here we've got the steaks that are resting.
How long has the video been going here for?
You know, I It doesn't show me. I don't know.
Well, that's how long it took us to make this full, complete, almost complete dinner. You could throw a little steamed vegetables on the side or some frozen veggies that you also can microwave. There's our potato, and then we have
swap your spots.
that.
Now, a couple times ago, you made some dip out of the Always Incredible, and someone had a great recommendation of using that dip on top of your potato, like a flavored sour cream.
Yep.
Oh, Jessica Newkirk says you've been 16 minutes. Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, so less than 15 minutes from like start to finish there.
Yeah, because you were talking and whatnot.
And then you have meat and potatoes, and of course you could put any other size, but you're talking about like a little medium.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right there, ready to go. And then as I'm opening up the potatoes, you put your sour cream, your mayo, or dip, or whatever, and then you could just pour some of that right on top,
Yeah,
which I know I'll be doing that. It's just the right consistency.
Yep.
You do this for a family, you're going to look like an absolute pro because you literally just used water and a seasoning blend, and you made this by yourself. So, and if you're a 5-star chef already, then it just takes it even to the next level then. So,
nice.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. Again, guys, good luck and be safe and take care of your families during this time. We'll see you next time.